most excited today. I'm super excited today to have someone very special in our midst and with a whole lot of experience. I saw something you said that you are a potential leader. If you are still calling yourself a potential leader, I thought that you're right. I was wondering, then where should well, I understand it's humility, fine, but you've done so much, and yes, you still have a lot of things to do, but you've done incredibly well. And in this podcast, our goal is to be able to inspire young people, bringing in industry leaders, people who have seen, what it means to be in a particular field. They know what it takes. They've experienced it to a very great extent and are capable of inspiring young people who are just starting off or who are trying to see that transition, how it can be for them. Probably are afraid of making the decision or probably, are considering what the pros, the cons, and all of those things are. So I believe it's going to be a very, very important session and it's going to be life changing. So let me give you the floor, Mr. Ukeme. Let us know who you are and what drives your passion.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for inviting me to this session. Okay. Yeah, so David is just flattering me. I've not done anything of 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 note. I'm just starting life. I'm just starting my career. I'm just starting, to be very honest. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. There are people who are way ahead of me. And as much as I try to inspire some other people, me too, I need to get inspired by my bosses. Okay, so my name is Ukeme David Eseme. I'm currently a DevOps engineer, AWS Community Builder, and also a cloud engineer. I've been in the field for a while. What do you want me to say again? I think that's pretty much it. So DevOps engineer, I specialize in blockchain. I've worked in other industries, but at the moment, my niche is actually in blockchain. Because there's a lot of like development in the blockchain sector. In a few years to come, as much as AI is almost everything now, everybody's talking about AI. We would also talk about blockchain that way. There's going to be a merger between blockchain and AI in the nearest future. I believe that is coming very soon. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me, David.
I know you started with media and all of that. So in tech, you really started with web development, right?
Yes. Actually, before I started doing media, I was doing tech from when I was younger, actually. I was already building websites when I was in SS3, SS2, SS3 back then. But I wasn't doing it to make any money. I was just doing it. Do you understand? I was just trying my hands on different things, when I was in SS2, that's some, if not 15 or more years back, and then I went into media. I would call that a lost cause. I did well in media, but I mean those years, if I had put those years in my tech career, I would have gone really, 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 really far, So I think that was where I kind of made a detour, right? So I started with website development, not even web development. I was just creating websites, So from there, I went to media, did some couple of spent 5 years in media, came back to tech because tech is my first love. And I mean, when I came back to tech, I started doing web development, yes, front end, back end, that kind of thing. And then for front end, back end, I got into blockchain, right? So I was a blockchain developer. I actually went to train on how to build on the blockchain for 6 months somewhere in Ikorodu, Web3 bridge. So we were housed for 6 months. We had free food, free internet, There was free everything. Your job is just to come and learn and train. And the training wasn't so easy, right? It was a very intense training. Like, we used to have classes for like 10 hours straight. Your job is just to wake up, eat, and code. Imagine being in that kind of environment for 6 months. Imagine being in that kind of environment for like 6 months. I mean, you would learn a lot. So from there, I went into cloud. Getting into cloud was actually very easy. Do I have to start talking about my cloud story, or you ask me that question later?
Okay, so let me ask you, what inspired you to move into cloud? Was it like you saw it like, this is the new trend, this is the new thing? Was it like web development was fading out? Why did you transition into cloud and eventually DevOps?
Yes, that's a very, very interesting question. So why I transitioned into cloud was because I had the opportunity, actually. I won't say I didn't know what cloud was. I knew what it was. But then I got a scholarship from ALX. So the first set of people who did the nano degree for cloud development in ALX, I was one of those guys who got the scholarship. I was like, oh, let me just write this exam and just see what happens. Those things. Now they share links, and I just signed up for the link, wrote the exam, and I was lucky to be one of the people who got the scholarship. So when I go into the scholarship, first week, second week, I was like, wow, I just fell in love with this thing. I was like, wow, this is a new technology. Back then, there wasn't so much people doing cloud. We were not that much. We just have a few senior men, and then some of the people were learning from them. And it was just a very interesting field. The fact that I can create machines in an instant, I can deploy anything I want in an instant. Got so affiliated with AWS, like very, very much affiliated with it. I just fell in love with cloud and DevOps. To some extent, they have some kind of like similarities. Yeah, there were some similarities, and it later dawned on me that I've already been doing DevOps since, but I didn't know I was doing DevOps. I've actually been doing it since when I started using the computer. I play around with command prompts. Back then, I didn't know what I was just doing. I would just open command prompts and just be playing around, typing different things. I didn't know what I was doing. It was later I realized that, look, bro, this thing you were doing back then, it was actually DevOps. So, well, not the core DevOps, but like shell scripting, using command prompts basically on my Windows computer. So it was just a very interesting journey. Okay.
I want to ask, many people are still getting this thing confused. What is a cloud developer and a DevOps developer? What are the major differences between them? Or how can you explain it to a young starter who just want to make that career choice?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. I think that's even the crux of this entire session. This question you just asked. So, what's the difference between a cloud developer or cloud engineer and a DevOps engineer? Right. So there is a difference. I'm going to start with cloud. So in terms of cloud, like the word said, cloud, there's no real cloud like cloud. It's not like cloud. It just means a set of servers. That's what it means. A set of servers in a remote location that can connect to each other around the world. Data centers. That's actually what the cloud actually is. A set of data centers around the world, right? So your job as a cloud engineer or a cloud developer is to build applications or spin up infrastructure using cloud providers. Does that sound plain? Using cloud providers, like you are basically doing AWS. You want to create a virtual machine on AWS. Is the cloud guy that will go and create the virtual machine, right? Is the cloud guy that would create a storage S3 bucket, or maybe an RDS, or maybe a database or something using cloud services, right? So there's a restriction there. You use cloud services to provision infrastructure for a project, or a company, right? So the DevOps part of it goes really, really deeper, because DevOps covers, should I say, almost everything in tech. Because for you to be a DevOps engineer, like a true DevOps engineer, you need to have understanding of bits and pieces of different fields. For example, you need to know some networking to be a DevOps engineer. You need to know at least some management, because when you say DevOps, it means development and operation. So it's not just you writing code. There is the management and operation side of it. You need to know how to manage resources, how to cut costs. In a company's resource, if there's too much, you need to know how to cut costs. You need to know shell scripting. You need to know, there's just so many. That's why in DevOps, you can't come and say, oh, what's your stack? And then you say, hey, main stack, front end, back end, this one, that one. No, you can't just say that. You use all the tools. Almost, there's a lot of tools we use in DevOps. Do you understand? So DevOps goes a little bit deeper. And so if you are a cloud engineer or a cloud developer, that's one of those skill sets you should have as a DevOps engineer. You need to know cloud too. Do you understand? Yeah. So DevOps is development and operations. Cloud is creating and managing resources in a cloud provider. AWS, Google Cloud, Azure.
Oh, that's wonderful. So this one now is, give us a day in your life as a cloud engineer. What's a day in your life as a cloud engineer? Give us a summary of it.
That's a good one. Oh. Today is a day in my life of a cloud engineer. Something happened today at work. Like, I woke up this morning and this was on a GCP, Google Cloud platform, right? I woke up this morning and we have fleets of nodes we manage because it's a blockchain company, so we have a lot of nodes. And this morning, 46 of those nodes went down. They went down, and I was like, what's this wala this morning? I tried to access the machines and they were not working. Nothing was working. I could not access them. I didn't know why the machines went down. As a cloud engineer today, typical day, I now have to redeploy 46 machines for the QA team. That's the quality assurance team. This time, those 46 machines just basically means virtual machines, right? These are just computers. So that's like one of the things I had to do today. Then after that, a typical day, you probably will have to create monitoring for those machines, so you can monitor what is going on inside of that machine. A typical day, you deploy machines. It might not be 46, but you deploy machines. That's one of those things you would do. You would create S3 buckets, create databases. You would most likely be troubleshooting issues. Troubleshooting is a very, very important phase in this game, right? You'll be troubleshooting. You would, most likely be creating infrastructure. That's a very important part. Creating infrastructure. In fact, you are creating the network. You are deploying objects to the network. You are managing that network. That kind of thing. It sounds easy, but it's not so easy when you start doing it.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. So we've talked about a day as a cloud engineer. Great. What of a day as a DevOps engineer?
Yes, that's even more chaotic. A day as a DevOps engineer is more chaotic. I don't think there are any beautiful. There's no beautiful day. There's no beautiful day as a DevOps engineer, to be very honest. Zeros. So first thing, like for me now, what I do most of the time is to configure networks, right? I'm configuring a blockchain network of 7 nodes, or I'm configuring a blockchain network of like 40 nodes. When I say nodes, I mean machines, actually, virtual machines, right? Or you are trying to do something with Kubernetes, you are trying to containerize an, an enterprise application, okay? So it sounds hard, but once you start doing it, you get to understand these things. You are doing automation, you are like writing a lot of Python code or shell scripting. Basically, you're just trying to solve problems. That's your job, problem solving. So you wake up in the morning and they will give you a set of problems to solve. They give you a set of problems to solve, and your goal is, how can I solve this problem? Right? That's what you'll be thinking about.
So if you have to look at your own person now, what will you say are the skills that kind of helped you to fast track your journey, both as a cloud developer and DevOps engineer? What are the major skills that you feel a person should have to make the journey very fast?
Okay, do you mean soft skills or hard skills?
Yeah, so let's start with the hard skills, then soft skills.
Okay, for hard skills, first of all, you need to know Linux. You need to know a lot of Linux. Yes, that's the first foundation. If you can do Linux, I would say that you've gone far.
Yeah.
You've gone far. Yeah, so Linux, no AWS, GCP, any cloud provider, just know one of them, right? But I'll recommend AWS. Then you need to know Bash scripting.
Bash scripting.
No Bash, yes, Bash scripting. You need to know Python.
Python.
Right? Yes, Bash scripting and Python will help you in automation, because you'll be working on automation tasks. You need to know Kubernetes, Docker and Kubernetes. Docker and Kubernetes, they call them virtualization, right? Virtualization and containerization. Why is that important? It's because modern applications are now containerized. People don't build monolithic applications anymore. They containerize everything. Netflix, all these other guys, even this platform, I believe, is hosted on a containerized system. So Kubernetes and Docker, very important. And then you need to know some monitoring. Like, you should be able to do some monitoring on the back end to check how your systems and machines work. So in DevOps, they are divided into 4 core sections. 4 core sections: cloud, automation, CI/CD. In fact, it's 5: cloud, automation, CI/CD, containerization, and monitoring. Eventually, you have to pick 1 or 2 or 3 and then specialize in those ones, because you can't know everything.
Wow. So what are the soft skills?
Yes, soft skills. You have to be very hungry. You have to be very hungry. Whether it's hunger in terms of food or hunger in terms of knowledge, just be hungry. Right? You have to be very hungry. You have to be able to do your own research. Like, learn by yourself. You don't need, get to that point where you don't need people to always check up on you. You should be able to go to YouTube and find solutions to problems. All right, those are those soft skills. Networking too is also very important. Network with people in the industry. Even if you don't know anything, just network. Trust me, that networking will take you places. Networking, you can't downplay it. In fact, I will rate networking over I'll rate networking over you just going online and looking for stuff to do, like acquiring skills. Once you are with the right people, once the right people are around you, trust me, you will blend because birds of the same
Place to network is where?
communities,
Yeah.
tech communities, go to tech events. I go to a lot of tech events, at least 2 every month. My young baby now, my young daughter, I've already started taking her to events. Always attend tech events. You meet a lot of different kinds of people. Your destiny helper might also be there. So I would advise you go to tech events.
So let me start with this before we move on. In terms
Yeah.
of certifications now, what role does certification play in career advancement, or does it really play any significant role, and what role does it play?
Certifications make it's good to have certifications. To be very honest, it's good to have certifications, but what certification does for you is it opens the door for you. But once you enter inside that door, certifications cannot help you anymore. It's your skills. What can you do? That's what's going to help you. I know a lot of people who have certifications and you give them a task to do, solve A, B, and C problem, and they just don't know what to do. In the foreign world or in a first world country, yes, certification is good, but they want to know what you can do. I saw a post, Elon Musk, you saw that Elon Musk post, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw that post?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is not interested about your school or whatever fancy certification you have. Can you solve problem?
Yeah.
If the guy is not interested, can you solve problems? So certifications is actually very good because it kind of like it opens the door for you. It gives you an idea of what to expect. This is what to expect. This is what you should know. It lets you know what you should know. Then if you have a lot of certifications, you'll be celebrated, no doubt. Especially in AWS. If you have a lot of certifications, you will be celebrated. But can you actually do the work? So there needs to be a balance. Get certifications, yes, and also have practical skills.
Yeah.
Know the work.
Very important. Yeah, very important. But now, in terms of salary opportunities, okay, how can a person, like, how did you get your first job in tech? Let's start with that. Were you knocking door to door, give me a job, or you're posting on LinkedIn, open to work, or how did you get your first job?
You see all these things you just said now, I did everything. all these things all these things you just said now, I did in fact, you know how it is in tech now, it's not easy for them to employ a junior. I applied for over 2 years. I was applied. Rejection here, rejection there. That rejection is normal. You just need to get to that point where you can chest the rejection. Once you can be chesting rejections, you've now started looking for a job.
That's a point. Once you can chest rejection, then you're good to go.
That's when you started.
Oh, wonderful.
That's when you started.
Oh, wonderful.
So, I mean, how I got my first tech job. So, I mean, do you mean normal tech job or like well-paying tech job? Because there are two different.
Well paid. Yeah, well paid.
Oh, okay. And so the well-paying.
Yes. What was the salary?
Okay. The first, like, I don't know if 500k is well paid. Yeah, so those ones were like
that when you got to well paid,
yeah. So those ones, they are like Nigerian jobs. I didn't even put those ones on my LinkedIn because they were like side contracts. 500k, 600k. Those ones were because of my network. They just wanted me to help them. I mean, they believed in me. Let me just put it that way. They believed in me. So that one, I won't even count it as real tech job. So like the foreign company ones was, the first one was Nethermind. No, it wasn't Nethermind. Yes, my first foreign salary was $2,500.
Yeah.
Yes, $2,500. That was I was working. People go and check my LinkedIn now. I was working with this company in San Francisco. No, what's the name of this company? I have to even go and check it. It was $2,500, and I'll tell you the story of how I got it because it was very very dramatic. It was with yes, Age of Learning. So I was in ALX. ALX was doing a session, like a recruitment session, because that time I didn't really have a proper job. So in that recruitment session, right, they were talking about what to do, check your LinkedIn, create your websites, those kind of things to tidy up your chances of actually getting a job. So when they finished the session, I saw the names of there were like 4 HR people who hosted that session. There were 4. I got their names and I checked all of them on LinkedIn and sent them a message. I sent the 4 of them a message that, look, this is what I can do. This is what I have done. I'm available for work. 2 of them did not reply me at all. The last one, the 3rd person replied me but said they didn't have any opportunities. Then 4 months later, this is 4 months later, one of those HR persons reached out to me and said, okay, man, I don't even know this person before. This person is from, I think she's from Zimbabwe. And she just said, okay, man, you sent me your message, so thing on LinkedIn. Let's connect. Let's connect. You get? And then sent me a WhatsApp message, WhatsApp phone number. So I messaged her on WhatsApp. Okay, we met on LinkedIn. I said, hey, yes, I should send my CV. I sent my CV. And that was it. 2 weeks later, I didn't hear from this lady again. The next thing, I think 2 weeks later, I got a call from somebody in the US that so person gave me gave them my contact, that can I do so thing, can I do so. I said, yes, I can I can do it. The person who now called me is the managing director of a multinational company, Age of Learning, in the US. I did not expect that. So I would say it's just God. It's God and the fact that I actually made an effort. I mean, when you have meetings with HR people, you are looking for a job, they will give you advice and go, and then you too, you just go. What I think people should do is get their LinkedIn. As they are talking, the names of them, is their name and surname is there on Zoom. Copy it, put it on LinkedIn and reach out to them. That was how I got my first proper job, right? And it wasn't even DevOps. It was web development. And they paid $2,500. $2,500 now should be close. Yes, it's close to, it's over 4 million naira. A little bit over 4 million naira. Do you understand? And I can't say I did it all by myself. I'll say it's God, but I actually put some work, create a proper website for myself, put some things on LinkedIn, right, and reached out to people. But God did the orchestration. So that was for that previous question. So the question now you're asking is, how much is an entry level cloud engineer? How much should you expect?
Yeah.
The least you should expect, in fact, as an intern in a proper company, is $1,000. As an intern, expect $1,000. $1,000 should be around
That 160 or 170,000, something
yeah,
like that.
1.6 million naira. Yes, for an intern. Trust me, that's very good. That's very good for a Nigerian intern. You know, and if you are at least proficient, expect like 2,005, 3,000. You are very good, 5,000. Some people earn. I know some people are earning $10,000. Those ones are like my seniors. you know.
The blockchain space, how is it like, and then what are the main things you see as as the prospect there?
First of all, for being a blockchain DevOps engineer is a big deal because we are very few. I only know of myself and two other people
Hmm.
in Nigeria or that in my close community. I only know of myself and two other people. So it's in very high demand. It's a very, very high demanding role. They are looking for you. If you can do this thing, trust me, the job is just waiting for you somewhere. Do you understand? So it's you. I mean, people don't want to do this hard stuff. And the harder your work is, the less competition you have. Do you get? The less competition you have, the more value in terms of cash you get. I advise people that are already into DevOps, go and learn some blockchain. It's the same DevOps you are still doing, it's the same cloud, but you just have the blockchain knowledge. So you are applying your DevOps skill in a blockchain industry, blockchain environment. Do you understand? And there are very few people. In fact, there are very few people who are even blockchain developers. First of all, I'm not even going to DevOps. There are very few people. Everybody wants to do front end and back end. That's not the only thing to do. Front end and back end is not, in fact, it's a very saturated section of the tech industry now. I met a guy yesterday who was telling me that look, he wants to get into DevOps, that is good with front end and back end full stack, but they don't rate him. And they don't rate his work. They count him as a regular developer, just like everybody. He wants to feel special. Do you know that kind of thing? It's not really about just feeling special, but doing something different from others gives you some kind of respect first. It gives you some kind of respect. It also broadens your knowledge. When you're doing something that is at the bleeding edge of technology. That's why people who are doing AI now, I respect them a lot. There are very people who can actually do AI. Very, very few. So if you are doing AI now, you get that prestige and you get that advancement in terms of like your knowledge because you're working on bleeding edge technology. Before I got to this company, I was actually working in Nethermind. Nethermind too is a very popular blockchain company. They kind of like created their own protocol to handle should I say like the consensus algorithm of a blockchain system. So Nethermind is actually very, I think they handle, yes, the consensus algorithm Nethermind. So these people, they do their research, bleeding edge, things that people have not done before. Or maybe some people have done partially. So they come and they try to improve on what is already existing. So if you're in that ecosystem, even as an intern, just spend three months in that kind of place. Trust me, you'll be a senior after 3 months. You'll be a senior in some other companies after 3 months because of the kind of knowledge that you would acquire. Do you get? So I don't know if that's actually
Yeah, yes, yes.